seconds. Yes, let me just take myself off you as well, because that's very, just going to hide self view. Great. Okay, lovely. Hi, I'm Sonya. I'm an addict.
Hi, Sonya.
Hello. Hello, guys. It's really, really, oh my God, it's real. I was so blown away when I got asked. I sort of don't feel like I've got history. I sort of kind of still, well, I still live a bit like I'm 21. And so I don't think I've got any history, but obviously, yeah, thankfully I have got a bit of clean history now and a bit of time in NA, and I feel solid here. I feel, like I am, doing the steps through another fellowship at the moment, but I'd still do a lot of NA. My service is NA. My people are in NA, and NA is really where my heart beats. And it didn't feel like that at my first meeting. I think I went to my first meeting in 2000 and I was trying to think back. I think it was 2003, and it was in Holloway Prison. And actually, my now sponsor took the flipping meeting, which was quite an extraordinary little twist of events when I came to ask her. But yeah, she took the meeting, and I was completely, well, I wasn't actually, I was scripted in there, and I was completely loopy off my tits. I did not, I went to this meeting. I purely went to the meeting because I couldn't get hold of any drugs, and I kind of thought at least talking about drugs might pass a bit of time rather than hunting to get some. And so I went along to this meeting, and then they just completely baffled me. It was quite a chaotic meeting, and we were just kind of saying to them, but yeah, what? This woman did this chair, and she was kind of a bit punk, and so there was a little bit of connection there. And I was just, after she shared, but we were just saying, yeah, but how do you do it? How do you do this? She was just saying, just keep coming back. Just keep coming back. When you get out of here, just keep coming back. And I just, I didn't believe a word of it. And then little seeds were sown, little drops were dripped. And I think I was begging in the tunnels at Elephant and Castle, and someone stopped who was in NA and said that no matter where they went in the world, they went to a meeting, and they could just hook in with this fellowship, and and there was their people there, and they could identify, and just little seeds were sown. And I still didn't go to a meeting, and then I actually spent the last few years of my use in Bristol. And that was where I first started going to meetings regularly. And I went to a meeting, and it's still to this day, it's quite an early chaotic fellowship in Bristol. It's although it's quite a big city with a lot of users, a lot of people do AA rather than NA, because it's still, compared to other cities nationally, it's still is yet to have some strong people kind of take it on and make it a strong fellowship. And it's a real shame. It is a real shame. But anyway, I started doing meetings there, and I got myself a commitment at one meeting, and I was so mad. I was really trying to get I was so on and off the streets and things, but wherever I was, she'd come and pick me up in the car and take me to a meeting. And and I wasn't in a place to listen, but little things started to come through, and I took on a service commitment. It was a tea commitment, so I marched into their business meeting, started telling them all about how to do it and what to do. And then just didn't turn up the next week, and then didn't turn up the week after, and I kind of went off with all their tea and probably some money as well. And then I turned back up, and again they welcomed me in, and it was quite a bizarre thing. And I pretended to them that I wasn't using, when you could blatantly see that I was. And I asked to get I asked someone to sponsor me, and she said she couldn't sponsor me until I got clean. And And for me at that point, it was such a huge thing to get clean. Though I could not possibly see how I would do that. I just couldn't see. I tried so many times to kind of reduce on my methadone or reduce on my whatever, and I'd just get to a point where everything just got too much, and like the social anxiety got too much, and just life just got too much, and I couldn't cope. And so then I just boom, straight off relapse again. And so I didn't know how to do that, and eventually things got so bad that I got the offer to go into treatment, and I lapped it up, and it was there that I got introduced to NA. I mean, I got chucked out of my first treatment centre, of course I did, and then, you know, luckily I got the chance to go in, and actually there was someone it was a woman who's in NA, who worked for an organisation, and I can't, like, really, this sounds so daft, but when I think of her, I wouldn't tell many people, but I'll tell all of you lot. But like, when I think of her, I think she's a flipping angel. I really do. Like, she's the most extraordinary woman. And I was out grafting on the streets of Bristol through the night in the middle of winter with with hardly any clothes on, and she literally came up to me, and she would literally rub my thigh, rub my legs to kind of get me warm, and I kind of go and sit on this little bush she had, and she gave me a cup of soup and a cup of tea and a you know, and a hat and scarf and things, and I really think that it was things like that that kind of broke through the ice, that broke, you know, like, I don't think I'd had caring human contact for so many years, and you know, feeling her kind of reach through, and just the genuine care. And I, you know, if it hadn't been for her, I don't think that I would have melted enough to have a little crack to kind of let some light in, go into treatment again, and actually kind of go with it. And people travelled to the treatment centre where I was at and did this extraordinary thing of sharing and telling us their stories. And I'd never known that kind of honesty. I had no idea what really basic honesty was. I had no idea about, you know, like, I went in with a parcel, and it just didn't occur to me that I was kind of going around saying to people before I went in, oh, you got to shout us a bit, because like, I'm going into treatment and I need to take something in. Like, the whole idea of going into treatment was to get clean, like, not to take in as much as you can with you. But anyway, like, a few days into being there, I kind of heard this thing about honesty, and so I actually I actually flushed the parcel down the toilet and just went, right, now I'm getting honest now. And then I came over to London, and just hit the meetings, really. Just did not look back, just went to meetings, and there was a really lovely little candlelit meeting, illness and recovery in Battersea. I couldn't cope with the big Brixton meeting to start with, the illness and recovery, and it was really little and really candlelit, so no one could actually see you, and there weren't many people there, and I could just about handle sharing there. Like, I was really terrified early days, really, really terrified. And I just think, like, it's the variety of meetings like that we have in London that have been built up over the years, that actually, when newcomers come in, they can take and pick. It is really hard going, you know, it's harder in, well, oh my God, where I come from, like this small little town outside Manchester, you know, you've got no choice really of meetings. It really is just starting up there. There's a few little there's a couple of little local AA meetings, which I used to go to early days up there, but there's no NA meetings. And so just have to have the kind of plethora of meetings in London to pick and choose from. And I don't know if it's my perception, but when I came in, I really felt like there weren't many women around, and I really felt like it felt very, very, very male dominated, and I really struggled with that. I had a lot of fear, particularly around a lot of men. I had a lot of fear, and I found it quite overwhelming and quite scary. I don't know, a lot of women a lot of people, I just find it really scary. I find it really difficult. And but I also knew that I couldn't rely on anyone else to get me to a meeting, that I had to get me to a meeting. And I really took it on that actually what I wanted to do was to try and help as many women as possible, and to kind of build up a real strong presence of women in the fellowship. And I do feel like over the years that has happened, and the more meetings I go to, the more I see a strong presence of women, and that's amazing to see. I feel a bit because I didn't actually get clean till 2009, although I was in the fellowship from 2003. I feel a bit like like really I should be sharing on the later stuff, but over the years I have obviously seen NA grow, and I won't, I just love the organicness of it, and I love that people can set up their own meetings, and I care very much about NA, and I care, I love that everyone can find their own little niche of service, and I've done, quite a bit of H&I over the years, but I really feel like where I love is area. I don't know why, but I just love a bit of area. I love all the feisty personalities, and I love, kind of debating everything out, and I like chairing it so I can have a bit of control over everybody. And I just love NA, and I don't know really what else to say. What else can I say? Early days, I did travel about London quite a lot, going to different meetings. I just got my I didn't even have a proper phone or anything. I just literally got my old A to Z book and my bike, and I just cycled out with my A to Z in my hand, and I just cycled out to all the different meetings all over London. And I really got to kind of get a real flavour of all the different characteristics that all the different areas have. And, you kind of got Soho and all its kind of flamboyance, and you got Notting Hill, it's kind of quite cool, and you got Camden and Book Street, it's kind of just like a bit odd and a bit quirky, and then you got I will say I feel like South London and Brixton, I just love it. I love it. I feel like I have watched it become more open-minded around certain things. I've watched South London in particular have to become more open-minded, and not be quite so homophobic, for example. And it's quite amazing watching people kind of debate that out, and kind of almost like having pioneers to kind of debate that out and open people's minds. And yeah, and I think it must have been like that for different races coming in, and then also for women coming in. And there is just over the years I've seen a few really strong characters kind of really stand their ground and really hold it. And NA is just like a little kind of pocket, a little reflection of society, but at its best it is a more hope you like to think you hope a more enlightened, or at least open-minded enough to talk it out, to become open-minded section of society. And if we do live by the principles that we learn here, then we can take an amazing way of life, an amazing outlook on life out into the big wide world. And wicked, lovely. Thank you, Vicky. Yeah, and it's really thanks to people that have come before us, but also I think it's quite exciting for what it will look like in the future. Now seeing it all kind of change and adapt, going on to Zoom, we're incredibly adaptable, and we all have this drive within our bellies, to need to stay clean, to pull us together, and to do whatever it takes to keep NA going. And yeah, I am going to leave it there, Vicky. It has been such an honour to share, and yeah, really lovely to be with all you guys. Lovely. Okay, thank you.